Shut up and sit down.
What you listening to, son?
I don't think you like it.
So did you make a good choice?
No.
Everything's a mess, and folks are feeling blue. If your troubles got you down, so much you can't abide, get on that bicycle and ride. Yeah,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. You are listening to the slightly above average crew of the Dialed podcast. You know them, you sort of like them, and they get the job done most of the time. Matt Lee Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. You know I'm the bomb though. It's okay. I won't tell the guys what you are thinking.
Eugene, Havana, and Shanghai. Even folks in Boston town are giving
Hey, yo,
it a
Matt,
try.
man. I miss you. Who else was with me when I caught the swag flu?
Just get on that bicycle and ride. Yeah, get on that bicycle.
All right, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and I'm here today with Mr. Evan Price.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen of the interweb? Somebody had to do it today.
Yes, we're missing one of our compadres here.
Yes.
Mr. Matt is on location and unavailable to talk. Yeah.
The short, skinny, weird guy to my right is not here.
Yeah, doing some
Very
sort
sad.
I was super worried that we wouldn't find out how the ladies and gentlemen of the internet are going.
We're going to
be
find
doing
out
today,
how they're
but
doing.
we'll find out.
We'll still find out how they're doing.
Again, I will speak on their behalf. I think they're doing just fine. Mr. Lance Romance.
Lance Romance in studio.
Stealing your thunder, baby.
I'll take it. It's all
Sorry.
good.
How's the Golden Boy doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. No more nicknames for you. I'm over nicknamed already.
Hey, Mr. Lance Saggy Pants, why don't you backpedal for us?
Backpedal. The biggest thing is I Zwifted 3 times last week.
I saw that.
I about fell off my bike when I saw that because that's where I was at when I saw that.
How long
was on
was your-
Zwift. I'm like, wait, what?
How long was your longest Swift?
Oh, an hour and a half or something like that.
How long did that feel to you?
Oh, like 3.5 hours
Okay,
or something
yeah.
like that. Something ridiculous. It was raining. I needed a workout. I thought, I need to get in and
Onto
do
the
this
Zwift.
thing. So, plus I want to do the team Zwift rides too.
Did you like it?
I didn't do the team Zwift ride. I can't remember what I had. We had a dinner that night. We had a family dinner going on, so I couldn't do it. But I thought I better make sure this is all working. And
There's always another Tuesday in the future.
So I did Zwift a few times. That was fun. I also did. I had I cheated on our DCT team, our dialed cycling team.
What?
I've been getting invited to the tireless velo cyclocross practice.
Oh, how dare you?
Oh.
And so it's actually really fun, but it's called Bridge Club. That's what they call it. I don't know why they call it Bridge Club. I think it's funny because, honey, I'm just going to Bridge Club. I'm not going to cyclocross practice. I'm going to Bridge Club, and it's a bunch of old people that they do it at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So
That's awesome.
So, but it's a really good workout. It's like interval training, and
Where do they do it?
they just do it at a local park here in Vancouver.
Okay.
So I was glad I got invited. So I've been a couple times, and so I'm actually the guys I'm doing it with are the other Camus cross country coaches other than Matt. So
Did Matt not get involved? Well,
Matt won't go anymore.
Matt probably refused his invitation.
He
Yeah.
refused his invitation, but he won't go. So anyway, I went to Bridge Club. And I feel really old.
It's like
because I
that's
call
like a
it
book club
Bridge
for
Club.
people on bikes. Is that what that basically is trying to say?
I think so.
Yeah, they've got a cool team, though. They've got a lot of juniors, and they've
great.
got a lot of folks that have been doing a lot of the cross racing
Yeah.
stuff for a long time, so it's good to have them around.
Yeah, they're good folks. So then I jumped in my truck with my wife and my dog and drove across the state to Pullman, Washington for Washington State University's.
How do you feel about the city of Pullman? There were some strong words shared before the podcast.
Words earlier. Okay. Washington State, fantastic school, great school. My daughter, who's a freshman there, Darby, she loves it. She loves being there. She loves the school. But the friggin' town is.
If you could just see Lance's face right now. For him.
It's too small.
She just like broke his wedding ring. He squeezed so
Like,
hard.
Form's about ready to explode. Veins are popping out of his
veins are
forehead.
popping out of my head.
Turning red.
Okay, the town is 30,000 people. The school is like 25,000 people. It's like the whole town. So when you show up on a big weekend where and their football team is really good this year.
Yeah, number 10 in the nation,
They're
right?
number 10 in the
Yeah.
nation. So when there's a football game and it's dad's weekend and every student's dad is in town, the town is just overrun. You can't find a hotel. You can't get into a restaurant. You can't
Park anywhere.
You can't park anywhere.
Ride a bicycle anywhere.
Overpay for some dumb Airbnb in some idiot guy's basement. I didn't. Okay, I'm starting to.
Do you want to
off.
share for how the weekend?
I'm starting to lose it.
I remember before the podcast, Lance goes, he's like, well, I'm probably not going to share all this on the podcast.
I'm trying to be careful about what.
Just so we don't get hate mail, because I know there are a lot of diehard Washington State fans here. They're actually ranked number 8. So.
Number 8? Oh, okay.
Wow.
There's no missions already.
Right.
Number
There's
8.
no
Okay,
missions
go Cougs.
already.
I'm just trying to cut
Go
down on that
Cougs.
hate email.
Go
Like,
Cougs.
Okay, I had a blast with my daughter. I had a great time at the football game.
They won the
we
game
went to.
too,
They
right?
won the game in a last second touchdown throw, and it was right like in front of me where we were actually sitting. So I mean, all that stuff was really cool. It just the town is overrun on game night or game weekend, and I wasn't prepared for that because my daughter's a freshman and we haven't figured that out yet.
How much money do you think one of those restaurants is making in a night
I don't
there?
know.
So if that guy's charging a boatload of money for the
I was gonna say it's a
Airbnb,
lot.
how much of a gouge are the restaurants putting on their menus? I mean, do
it's
they
a-
have special game day weekend menus?
I don't know. I didn't get any
$25
restaurants
for a
to
burger.
find out.
Jeez.
Yeah, so anyway, I did ride my bike while I was there. I'm like,
Oh, you did?
yeah, I did.
I didn't think you took it with you.
I did. I took my bike. We actually went the night before and stayed in the Tri-Cities.
Uh-huh.
And I went out for like a 45-mile hammerfest by myself one day. And the wind was blowing like 40 miles an hour.
Oh, geez. How many KOMs did you steal?
I didn't get any because the wind always blows.
Oh. So locals have ridden that wave before.
So I got a few top 10s.
There you go.
But I didn't get any KOMs. But that was in Tri-Cities. And then in Pullman, I went out the morning before the game and all that. Yeah, and I rode like 45 miles there as well. So I went out for a couple hours. And, it was funny. I was riding on these backcountry roads, which are just beautiful, very little traffic. I ended up on one of the main highways with all this traffic on it. I'm on my Garmin 1030, and I hit the navigation button and said, navigate me home. And it's set so that it stays off main roads. So it started giving me a different option. Fantastic. So I'm following it, and it took me right to this gravel road. 10 miles of gravel. I'm on my road bike with my road tires.
Oh, jeez.
But
10 miles of gravel.
it was
on
10
your road
miles of
bike?
gravel.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful gravel. It was the best part of the weekend. Me riding on this gravel on my road bike over this steep. Anyway, it was fun.
Will that gravel summons you back someday?
It probably will.
Take the sting a little bit out of going into town. When
That's right.
all
Maybe bring the
billion people
gravel
are
grinder
there.
for that day.
That's right. It made me feel better. So that's enough backpedal for me. Pullman, I still like you.
That's the most frustrated backpedal I think I've seen out of Lance.
Lance doesn't get frustrated, so that must have been
I
quite the
don't
weekend.
blame you with that Airbnb situation, though. That would.
It wasn't just that. It was finding a place to eat.
Yeah.
I'm taking my daughter out and my wife and her roommate and another friend, and so there was a group of 5 of us. We had to drive 45 minutes to a different town to find a restaurant that we could go to.
Is there even a grocery store in Pullman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's 30,000 people, so it has a Walmart.
See,
we could have done that, but we had no.
I went to
friggin'
school in
kitchen
Ada,
there.
Ohio, where there is no grocery store actually. So I mean, that's a lie. There is a grocery store, but it is. When I say grocery store, it's like
It's like a 7-Eleven.
it's a glorified 7-Eleven, but
Yeah. All right. Enough.
Evan Price, backpedal for us, buddy.
All right, there's one thing that I have to backpedal out, and then we'll just get off me. I have a big airs no missions here that I screwed up last week.
Oh, here's a regroup.
So I claimed that my father, who has been cross racing here, has been in last place in his races, and he called me out this week saying, "No, I have not. I have beaten a few guys."
Oh, he beat a few guys.
He's beaten a few guys. He has, and this last one that he just did. On Sunday, it's a big race in Ohio. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come King's Cross. It was King's Cross in Ohio, which is a big like weekend of cross racing there. He did like his best finish. I think he said he beat like 6 guys or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Good.
He's moving
that means
up
your
the
dad's
field.
actually listening.
He's
to the
moving up the
podcast,
field. He
too.
is, and he's correcting me too. Which is, I told you he listens. He got inspired to get on the cross bike from Lance. So yeah, that was
good.
He loves it though. It's so much fun. I know. I feel like I've at least somebody in my family is doing cross racing because
I haven't raced in like 2 weeks, and I miss it terribly because
Yeah.
I don't do these Sunday races, and I feel itchy.
It's just
Well, the Crusade racing this
think-
weekend was in Bend, and you were in
I was
Pullman,
at Dad's weekend.
Yeah,
I mean,
That was another reason why I was
think
ticked off.
back to your triathlon days there. How many days do you race in a year for triathlon? What,
Yeah, like
6?
4.
4 or
Right.
5.
Unlike this, where I'm racing 4 times
Literally
a week.
every single week. Yeah, multiple times. But yeah, that was basically. Oh, I've picked up like the most annoying little injury. Not to make this a complaint. Has anybody here I know everybody here's got broken ribs before, right?
Oh yeah.
I think the only thing just annoying enough to that is getting like a badly bruised rib.
Yep.
Because the thing
Did that too.
Because you can still just like train through it, but it's just annoying enough to be like, oh my god, this thing needs to shut up.
I had a few of those after that cherry pie incident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's made. You know what's interesting? Doesn't hurt that bad with swimming. You'd think swimming would be the thing that sucks for it. It's running. Running is a nightmare with a bruise.
jarring, yeah.
Yeah, it's the jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be gone in 5
That's
days.
why I
I'll be
don't
fine. Yeah, that's why I don't run. Yeah, exactly. It's also because you're actually good enough at biking where I don't think you need to run. So,
So how's the past week otherwise?
outside of that, work's going great. Training is still training. This is gonna my training logs are gonna be just hilariously boring for this podcast for a little bit. It's just day after day of training, and the good news is I got a new swim buddy for once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Me and Matt talk about Nate Ansborough on here a bunch. The guy from Everyman Jack team. He'll be kicking my butt in the pool on Mondays. So did my first workout with him today. We did a cool little. Anybody looking for like a fun swim set with a friend? There's like if you can find somebody.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. No.
So Lance, let me give you a fun swim set
do a
here for
little
when you come back to
aqua-romance over there.
triathlon. you get this so it's a 1K set and you trade off every 200 leading, but it's continuous the whole time and you try to get away from the person each time you're leading. And you got to stay on their feet. So it makes for a really painful, kind of a tough 1K.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really nice little up and down simulation there.
So chasing dudes around the pool with Speedos on?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You could do it on a bicycle too if you really wanted
Is
to.
that better than chasing guys on bikes staring at their butts and spandex the whole time?
Actually, I really think it is because at least there's the difference between your bib shorts and your Speedo is a whole lot of landscape.
I guess so.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Let me get that thought out of my mind. All right.
Jake, you're backpedaling now?
All right. Yeah, it's guys, I don't even know why I come in here and tell you. It's the same thing as last week. Literally. I mean, another EMG, a bunch of Zwift rides, saw you for physical therapy, went to acupuncture, another doctor's appointment, and then the highlight of my week was watching my kids at swim practice. That's the swim that I will enjoy because it's
There you
fun
go.
watching my kids
Yeah.
motor through the pool. That's a lot of fun. And then watching my older daughter play soccer in a tournament, and they're kicking some serious butt, and it's really fun. She's come around even more in like the last like 3 or 4 games. She's
That's
like
awesome.
this like sense of like confidence and this like it's like I don't want to call it like an arrogance, but she's playing with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, and she's a little taller and she's strong and she's fast, and like when she wants to get after it, there's nobody that can run past her, and she can run away from people if she wants to. And I saw her put a girl on her butt so hard, I was instantly waiting for a card to come flying from the ref, and it never happened to my
Didn't
wife and
happen.
her.
Good.
Like the long face, like,
Good.
oh my god, did that just happen? and like you want to cheer on, but you don't want to piss off the parents from the other
Right.
team because she's like, I'm like, hey, were you playing football or were you playing football there, kiddo? So anyway, they're doing pretty well. They're in the winners bracket right now, so we've got another set of games next week, and so I'll just leave it at that because this is not a soccer podcast.
Still,
That's
though, I mean, if I'm going to force us to talk about running and swimming here, we can absolutely talk about soccer. I'm all for that.
That's the offset, right?
How are the kids like in swimming?
Oh, they dig it. Yeah, my my littlest, she is a little fish and just flying through the water, and her classes are more geared around still learning technique and whatnot. My son has graduated to more of the competitive classes, so they're working on a lot more like different strokes and style and technique there, and getting a lot more volume. And so it's been fun to watch them. And yeah, it's
That's awesome.
Probably not something I'll ever be doing, but it's cool to watch them progress. It's just you kind of like get enamored with your kids and their progress that they make. So
Yeah.
you'll learn about it someday.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah, and then just knocked out all my my Swift rides, and I think I came in at like 8 hours and 20 minutes last
You've been
week for riding.
Consistently right around that 8 mark for a couple weeks
Yeah,
now, right?
I was going to increase the volume a little bit, but I got pinched for time on Sunday. I was actually going to try and get closer to 9 hours, but had to get to swim and soccer. So
Yeah.
Family rules of the day.
Yeah.
Consistency, all
So,
that matters, though, especially this time of year.
Yeah. So, all right, let us get this thing started. 101 benefits of cycling. We're going to go through every last one of them. Just kidding.
In detail, every single one.
We picked out some of our favorites that we would like to discuss with you guys and why. So we will run through this, and then when you guys actually are listening to this, we'll have it posted up on our Facebook page. So if you want to look at all the different 101 different benefits of cycling that are pretty cool, you can definitely kind of play along if you'd like. And we'll go from there. So let us start off with Lance. What's your first one that you got listed out there, Mr. Lance?
The first one I listed was cheer up, which it basically cycling makes you feel better.
Did it save your weekend in Pullman?
I think it would have been so much worse if I hadn't gotten out on that ride.
I love how the article like way simplifies that. They're just like makes you feel better. I was like, yeah, I like how it's just that simple because that's all it is. Like put that serotonin endorphin crap to the side. This is just it makes you feel better. Like
Why does it make me better? Because of serotonin.
Because it does.
Right. That was my first one. Just makes you feel better.
Yeah, my first one was decreases stress, and I think it falls right in line with that. And I can't even begin to tell you like how many times in my life I've been able to go to cycling to kind of just even me out. I mean, you get worked up like Lance when he goes to Pullman on Father's Weekend for football. You just kind of get pent up, whether it be work related or maybe you got some stresses in your life or things just aren't going great. I can't think of too many times that I've gone on a bike ride and didn't come back with a better disposition.
Yeah.
I mean, agreed.
I think it makes you more productive. I mean, like as it decreases that stress, like it may seem like a catch-22 to some people, like, oh, how could you be more productive when you're just spending time on a bike? But I mean, there's globs of research out there saying it improves
we're not talking
mental
about
function.
like coming back from a century ride and you drop the hammer. Yeah, you're going to want to go take a nap. But, when you're talking about just like your average training ride, you can go out there and pour yourself into that ride, come home and, get cleaned up and you're like, man, I've got some energy. Let's get this done. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one. And physiologically speaking, there's a lot of science behind the reasons behind that. But you want to give us I mean, is it just endorphin based or
it's very dopamine and endorphin related. So dopamine being not to bring in this disease talk about, but anybody who knows anybody suffering from Parkinson's disease, dopamine is the chemical released when you are basically planning on doing an action. So you're planning on doing a motor action, your body releases dopamine, and that's what triggers the response. So you think about, okay, now there's this big flood of dopamine into your system as well as, the other endorphins we talk about. But the big flood of dopamine is why after an hour or two ride, you feel like, okay, now I can go about my day and I'm feel ready to do more.
Yeah.
I know, at least for me, like if I spend a day on the couch, I'm going to be about 5% productive compared to if I do a 3-4 hour good ride, I'm going to be so much more productive throughout that day. Yep. And there absolutely are chemical reasons for that. But even beyond that, just the idea that you're going and doing something already just gets you primed for the day.
So get this. this is Monday afternoon. We record this on Monday afternoon. Usually before this, I just wake up late, read the paper, take it easy.
Read the paper.
I know I'm an old man.
Take out your handkerchief, blow your nose.
Carry around my handkerchief, curse at the kids on my lawn. So I don't do much, usually before we come to meet to record the podcast. But this morning I woke up and I rode on Zwift for an hour and like 20 minutes. And after that, I felt great. I felt so much better. I went and got my tire fixed at Les Schwab. I got my oil changed.
Yeah.
I went and had some lunch before I accomplished all this stuff before I even walked in the door here, which I don't normally do. So yeah, it does make you
absolutely
feel better.
Gotcha. What's your next one, Evan?
The one that I owned there actually isn't on the list. It was in the very first sentence, which I liked. It was talking about how there's been a 60% increase in America and bike commuters in the last 10 years. Which I think, because I know on this podcast we've talked about some of the pitfalls of cycling lately with the decrease in racing numbers, the decrease in professional team sponsorship. I think that's a big number to say. I mean, as a country, we're probably getting, I think the consensus is we're getting more sedentary, but maybe by the numbers we're not actually. Maybe in the last 10 years there actually has been a shift.
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're getting more sedentary?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I was saying not getting sedentary. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we're getting more sedentary.
Yeah.
And we're getting larger.
Yeah. Well, we definitely are getting larger because they just changed the BMI numbers actually. But so I think at least with bike commuting, I mean, you're talking about in these cities, we talk about the traffic all the time, which is a point multiple times made in this 101 list.
Yeah.
That was the other point that I wanted to make because I've heard probably if, let's say I see 16 patients in a day, 8 of them are going to mention traffic at some point.
Yeah.
In this region, in Vancouver, Portland.
That's a stressor in their life.
Yes. And here's my big theory on this. People with chronic low back pain and anger towards their commute is directly related. I don't have a good case study to point to for that, but I think just through anecdotal evidence, I'm going to go ahead and say that is definitely related. But you know what makes that better? If you ride your bike to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because people think, okay, I'm going to go out and ride my bike. It's going to take me 5 times longer to get to work. It's not that big of a... Okay, from where I live in Camas to get to downtown Vancouver, now I'm hustling on the bike a little bit. And hopefully there's not like a bunch of stoplights I'm going to get hung up at. But I can get to downtown Vancouver in 35 minutes. Now, if I'm just cruising, it's more like 40 minutes. If I drive my car and there's just a touch of traffic...
25 minutes.
You might get there 5 or 10 minutes faster, and you're going to be cranky. Yeah, it's not that much of a difference.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, what's stopping me from just...
And there's your workout for the day,
riding my bike to, say, the grocery store, which is a heck of a lot closer. I can get to a grocery store from my house on my bicycle in 10 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Why don't more people do that? That's a big head scratcher. It's a head scratcher for me, too, because I don't even do it. It's like, why don't I just get a bike specific? Because part of it is I don't want to park a super nice bike out in front of a grocery store.
Or carry a gallon of milk back on
True.
your bike.
But they've made little trailers that you can attach to your bike, and that's cool.
I definitely need to buy a commuter bike.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm with you. Like the main reason that I'm not taking my bike everywhere I go, well, for one is because I'm always going in and out of the pool. Swimming really ruins that. But it's because I don't want to take my road bike and hook it up somewhere because they do get stolen. But yeah.
There's great locks out there.
Yeah,
there are. There's also good garage sales. Garage sales. I can just go and buy a bike. I don't even care if it gets stolen.
That's
a tough one.
Yeah.
Here's one that I like. Get addicted. This is a healthy addiction. And granted, with anything else, you can take it a little too far. But for the most part, you can get addicted to something that is healthy, that's going to have this whole paradigm shift in your life. You're going to go through this whole metamorphosis of cycling. When you first get started, you have no idea the depth of what cycling can give to you. And especially if you dip your toe in the racing waters, you can really kind of just go nuts and almost perseverate on it and spend tons of time, energy, effort, and money. But it's a healthy addiction, in my opinion.
It is.
Because you're going to start sleeping better because you're going to go to bed earlier because you don't want to get hammered on that group ride. You're going to start eating better because you want to change your body to weight ratios, your body weight to watts ratio rather.
Yeah.
you just start treating everything a little bit differently, and you start riding more, and you're going to start burning more calories. You're going to lose body fat. You're going to get a better, just all around body composition. Yeah. I mean, there's so many good things that come from this. So why not get started? Why not get addicted to something that's healthy?
And we were just talking about this with Lance. It's so what's the difference between Lance's shape, fitness, and health this year and this time last year?
Yeah.
Cycling teaches you there's really no shortcuts to that, because we were just joking with Lance, like, oh, what's the secret? Oh, it's just a year of riding 400 miles a week and eating super well. There you go.
That's all it takes to
That's
be
all
fit.
it takes, just one full year of commitment.
Lance was injured, and that happens. Sometimes we get injured, like me.
like somebody else at this table.
And he's always been a cyclist or a competitive athlete, and he's always had that cycling bug, and he's got the ability to ride, and he carried that in his back pocket with him while he was injured. And he got to a point where he's like, all right, I can get this done, and I'm going to use that as my vehicle to get back into shape. And it's a healthy addiction. Lance is like, you don't see too many people that metamorphosize as much as he did over the last 8 months.
Yeah.
Well, I like food. And it's been a recurring problem in most of my life.
That's another one of the.
Oh yeah, that's my next one.
That's good. I
which
like
is
that you're bringing
eat
that up
frequently.
Yes,
that's the beautiful part of that cycling allows you to do.
Let's be honest, that's why we do this sport.
So I can eat better food or more food. But yeah, my metamorphosis was purely from focusing on restricting my calories and riding much more as much as I could, so that I could drop the pounds. And now I feel fantastic and great, and my weight has been steady for the last 6 months or 8 months. So.
But okay, so you say that you like food. Do you think that you had any unhealthy addictions to, say, food or unhealthy foods that you like? And do you find that you're still craving those as much now that you're fit? It's kind of funny how that changes.
Yes, it does change.
And because of your desire to want to do well in racing, you're training a lot, and you're getting good results there. You're making better food choices because of that, right?
Yeah, I'm much more cautious about what I eat.
A, you're losing the cravings, and B, you're making better food choices.
Yeah.
That's a win-win right there.
That's almost why it's a good addiction in that sense, is that we used to joke about this in running, is that running doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So, it's the same way on the bike. If you're going up that hill, the hill does not lie. You're getting up that hill at the pace that you've trained for and that you've ate at. Yeah. So that's kind of also when we talk about walking, to play devil's advocate, that can be a positive and negative of cycling, is that it's addictive in that sense. It can be, because when you're talking about some people with certain cognitive issues with how they process their own body image and everything. Yeah, that's, we've all read the stories of pros who struggle with that, amateurs who struggle with that, but as long as you're in a healthy environment and, in a group of friends that are supportive around you, it can absolutely be a healthy addiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Social circle too. I think the social circle was on there too, which I like.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one.
How many hours a week are you averaging right now, Lance? In general, just ballpark. I know you're having your weeks there where you're 15, 18, 22
That's
hours.
That's what I'm averaging.
Still?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
18. There's no way I can get up to 18. I can't ride with Lance anymore.
So if you're
a couple 25-hour weeks.
So if you're just at 20 hours, and if you're looking at the kilojoules, that you can almost do a direct correlation to the number of calories that you've burned.
Put you in a bomb calorimeter and see what you're doing
that's
in a week.
We'll say that Lance is burning 12 to 14,000 calories a week just by riding his bicycle.
Yeah.
That's not including any of the off the bike stuff that he's doing, and that's not the fact that he's increasing his base metabolic rate significantly because he's carrying extra lean muscle mass and whatnot. So
you're putting in the same amount of hours on the bike, or really close to what I'm doing in triathlon.
It's been total hours. It's been 12 or 13 hours pretty consistently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Good gravy.
Yeah, I know.
Good. And they bring up a couple times on here muscle adaptations too, which when we're talking about this long-term training, that's absolutely what your body's gone through. Yeah.
Don't forget, people, I don't have a job. Okay. So there's some.
Are you going to run for?
For office soon? No, I am not running for any stupid political office. No.
By the time this comes out, the election day will already be gone. So Lance has 24 hours to run for office right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that, given your typical person that maybe has a family and kids and a job and all this stuff, obviously they're not going to find as many hours a week as you do, but to find 8 to 10 hours of riding, it's very, very reasonable. Give up watching TV a little bit, or maybe if you want to watch TV, hook up your trainer and
just
log some miles, or wake up earlier.
Put the bike trainer in the living room. My mom did that for years.
You can make it a priority. You can get her done.
Yep.
Get fit like Lance.
Absolutely. So now I've got a couple beefs with this article, though. Just two, actually, specifically. So here's the one. It's they kind of loosely say save knees on here. I know what they're trying to get at, but they're talking down running with that, and that's based off some really poor research, actually. They're saying that running is
How
damaging
about the research
to
from
your
the two
knees.
guys standing right here with you? Because I don't run because of my knees.
Power of two. Not a big enough study.
Right.
Not a big enough sample
That's
size.
a good point.
And also, one of those guys did a ton of Ironmans and racing in a very short period of time with very little sleeps.
Also true.
My knees are just fine. You know why? Never ran.
That is not the reason. It's because you're healthy. That's why your knees are good. But they're talking about they make the point that cycling improves your bone structure, which if you are comparing that to a sedentary population, absolutely yes. But, and I'm sure that you guys have heard stories about this, professional cyclists do suffer from osteoporosis at time, and they are walking that fine line.
Yes, they're built like little birdies.
That is also true. But cycling is not a hard enough impact on the bones for Wolff's Law, and Wolff's Law being basically for every reaction, there's a reaction in the bones. Mm-hmm. There's not enough of an impact during cycling to actually build a really, really strong plexus in the bones. Running, things like that, weight-bearing activities definitely are. But that's why, I mean, even your professional cyclists, they will actually go on runs. They'll do strength training. Sure. Because as this research has come out and they've found that so many professional cyclists are osteoporotic.
Right.
They have kind of found that, okay, so...
They should be cross-training anyway. But
exactly. And that's where they do make a point on cross-training in the article too. But definitely making sure that if you're that cyclist who's Lance... who's doing 12 to 20 hours a week on the bike, to make sure you're doing things like he's doing, like going hiking and all that too. Yeah. You're not just like cycling and then laying dead on the couch and then waking up and doing the same thing again the next day.
I actually did a hike in Pullman as well when we were there.
I feel like everywhere you go, you do a hike, right?
I try to do one.
Take the dog out for a hike. Yeah.
Take the dog and the wife and the daughter. Yeah, it was nice.
That's like pretty much a run. That can count as a run.
Yeah.
All right, Lance, hit us with another one.
My next one is to look younger.
That was my next one as well. So, good call.
I've got I'm an old man. I'm 48.
Old man.
Hey, that ain't that old.
So it's kind of funny. But I remember back in my triathlon days, I was training with a triathlon group, and the leader of the group was asking everybody, why are you here? What's your reason to be here? And they were going around the room. It's like, because I want to finish an Ironman, because I want to get fitter and faster. And they got to me, and I said, I just want to look good naked.
Yes. I wish I would have been next. I would have been like, I just like to eat foods.
I just want to eat food and look good naked, and this allows me to do that.
Eat really good food and look good naked. Speaking of looking good naked, also another point on there. This is where this gets slightly PG-13 rated. Increases your libido.
Oh, that's next on my list. But I had to put that on there.
This is funny. Me and Lance have the same exact list over here.
Well, back up for a second here, though. Let's talk about the validity of that statement.
Looking younger.
Looking younger. You know what's kind of cool? You show up to a bike race and you look around sometimes, and you'll see we'll say the Masters 50s. You look at those guys and you're like, dude, you're in your 50s, and like some of them are like, oh yeah, I'm like 58 or 59. I'm gonna be in the 60 next year. And like you ask them how long you've been riding for, and it's usually like decades.
Yeah.
And they look seriously 10, 15, sometimes 20 years younger than what they actually are.
Absolutely.
I've got mostly gray hair. My hair is mostly gray, so it's kind of a dead giveaway.
It's mostly a white. It's kind of white. It's got a white hue to it.
My dad, by the time he was my age, had a full shock head of white silver hair. You call them the old guys, the silver fox.
Yeah. That's what my dad calls himself. Oh my god.
So I'm just letting my hair go. If it's
Yeah.
all white, I'm fine with that. But it's kind of a giveaway when you show up with all this white hair that you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
But I disagree a little bit because if you're spending a lot of time in the sun or outside, your face is going to wrinkle a bit more.
Yes, it is.
You will get some more wrinkles.
So we'll correct this. If you're a cyclist in the Pacific Northwest, you will look young for your entire life. So everybody move away from California and Arizona and come.
Or you're wearing a cycling cap or a visor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or doing the calcium on your cheeks.
Right. I'm not doing anything there either. I'm just letting the wrinkles come too.
I'm the worst with sunscreen. I just don't. I mean, in this region, it's like, 9 months out of the year? Is it really necessary?
Well, like old Laz Berman say, always wear your sunscreen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All
Jake,
right.
Jake, you got one you like on there?
I do. Make new friends.
Yeah.
That's on my list too.
Hey, and for the folks of you playing along at home, none of us compared notes before the start of this, so we are discovering our
the same ones caught our eyes, I think. Yeah.
Right. I've got so many lifelong friends that have, from the past, say, 15 years when I've been pretty avid about being a cyclist and whatnot, that are still, solid friends to this day. And then more so now than ever with our team. I mean, I've never been surrounded by more like-minded, great people that are just salt of the earth, that like to give back, that like to do all the same things that I like to do. And had we not had this team, I wouldn't have ever made these friends. And had we not had the bicycle, we would not have all had the same, common thing and gone out and start doing riding and racing and just get to really know each other. I'm blabbering here. I'm going to shut up.
No, exactly. And that's like when we've talked about some of like the best conversations I've ever had in my life were like on a bicycle.
Oh yeah,
I mean, absolutely. Some of my best memories with friends are from like me being really tired on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Like in theory sounds like a terrible thing. It's like, oh yeah, 4.5 hours into this ride, I ran out of food and me and my buddy had to talk about stuff to keep me distracted from the fact that, you're starting to not see straight. But
my wife and I could really live anywhere we want in the country. Mm-hmm. But I know trying to recreate what we've developed here with the team and the people I ride with and the friends would be very difficult to recreate. And it takes years to do that. So we really don't want to move away because, I mean, like the first or second thing that comes up when we talk about possibly moving away is, well, what's the cycling like and what's the team's going to be like in the new area? Can I find a decent team to be a part of or not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not for nothing, but I came to this area because this was a desirable area for me to be in, a place where I could see myself retiring. So, I mean, there's that for me, but it's so freaking beautiful. Why would you want to leave here? Yeah. And I can understand like, okay, well, after Christmas, the winter starts to wear on you a little bit. Then there's January, February. Those 2 months kind of suck. Let's be honest and call it what it is.
But it just makes you appreciate June so much more.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
And Lance, you have that at your disposal, which we're all envious of.
I do not, but
I'm going to Turks and Caicos in January.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to Hawaii in March. Yeah, so everybody hate me, please.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm going to Ohio in December.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Here's another one, real quick. Yeah, I kind of skipped over. Keep disease at bay.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on that, guys?
Increase immunofunction.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And other things as well. I've been dealing with this back nerve injury. I actually saw my doctor this morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell us that story because that's a fantastic story.
Well, I have this. I have drop foot on my right side, and the doctor this morning told me that it usually takes 2 to 4 years to get some kind of results back from that. And if you get
what percentage were you down to?
I was like at 5%. 5% function.
Low. So that's like trace contractions, basically.
My right foot, I could only raise 5% of what I could on my left foot.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you listening along that don't maybe know Lance's backstory, that was from a back injury that stemmed from just years of like being a dentist, and couple that with some cyclocross and mountain bike racing and like years of running. It's just like life caught up with you.
We're not sure exactly what caused it, but it was a degenerative disc disease from 17 marathons and 4 Ironman races and
completely running's fault as you
Yes,
just
right.
17 of them.
and 20 years of doing dentistry bent over all day, every day, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was coupling all
I
that.
would lean towards more of that actually dentistry, knowing what you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I had this drop foot, which is what spurred me to end up retiring from dentistry. So I had the nerve conduction tested last week, and it turns out that my nerve conduction is right about 60% now of what it was. And I saw the doctor this morning. He's like, dude, this is fantastic.
And this is a year out from this
We're
surgery,
a year
right?
out, and usually he told me that if we get people back to this level, we're really happy, and you're already there at a year. And it usually takes people 2 to 3 years to get
You'll
to
be
there.
darn near 100% in a year from now.
He doesn't ever expect 100%.
Doesn't expect it?
No, he doesn't expect 100%.
You're going to prove him wrong, maybe?
It's
I'll be
the
there
way
with
my
you.
body heals is the way it heals.
Honestly, yeah.
I'll be doing the same thing with you. So
Yes.
they're telling me with my shoulder that I'll never be 100%. I'm going to live with permanent nerve damage now. But again, another reason to follow Lance's 2018 training schedule.
There you go.
Well, he just told me, you know, you keep doing what you're doing. All the cycling, all the stuff you're doing, being active, it is making a difference for sure. You are healing much better, you know, than you expect. So.
Yeah. And if you're talking about, this is where I think just in medicine in general, and Lance, I know you probably have seen this even from the dental point of view. There was a time period where recovery from injuries meant rest and don't move and sit there and stay still and hope things get better
and get fat.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I did.
I mean, think about how they used to recover ACLs. Anybody here who's had an ACL injury back in we'll say the 80s, I mean, they immobilized your leg.
Right.
And it took you out of that 8 weeks later, and we're like, all right, let's begin stretching it now and hope that it healed right.
Right.
And
after 8 weeks.
Nowadays, I mean, we get ACLs in my clinic 2-3 days after surgery, and they're moving right away. You know, I mean, Jake's, injury to, you're moving as early as you can there. And it's just a shift in how we treat disease, but also just musculoskeletal injuries is move. And what's one of the best ways to move is cycling, because it's low impact and you can do it for hours and hours.
Right. Yep. You'll appreciate this and be disgusted at the same time. I tore my ACL and had it surgically repaired 13 months before my first Ironman race.
Oh my gosh.
So I tore my ACL.
Decided immediately after, I should probably
Decided
do an Ironman.
immediately after, I'm going to do an Ironman. Signed up for it like 2 weeks after surgery. My doctor was like...
That is awesome, though. Oh,
no, my doctor was like, are you stupid? And I'm like, I'm going to send you a picture of me crossing the finish line of this Ironman race. So you just tell where my headspace is.
Yeah.
See, but sitting there going, yeah, whatever.
But I was like, whatever. Yeah.
But I really do and truly, I'm not the... I kind of don't like to hear when PTs are always like talking down stuff like that. Now, there is such things as like Lance Extreme is one thing, but like, I mean, I love patients like Lance in that sense. I would much rather have somebody who's absolutely pushing the limits of what the human body can deal with basically anything. For God's sake, I mean, you can have crush injuries, recover, and then go back to racing at a high level. Now, it takes recovery time, but I hate the adage that it's like, oh, be really careful on this for the next 9 months, going by the book on recovery. It's like, well, Lance isn't the book. I mean, like Lance and Jake here are not the book. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, all right, make sure you're only moving it this much for 9 months now. And after 9 months, we'll address your recovery at that point. It's a continuum at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think that your recovery from this nerve injury is really an adage to that. It really is.
It's been good. I still do walk funny with a little bit of a hitch because it's, my right foot is not 100%, but it is way better than they thought it was going to be.
I don't notice it. So, I mean,
I was going to say, I don't see it either.
Might be just you being sensitive to yourself, but you seem perfectly 100% normal to me, but that's still awesome.
Well, normal's like really, I mean, that's, come on. The guy carries a handkerchief around in his pocket.
I do carry a handkerchief. You know why I carry a handkerchief?
Can we address this, please? Because we talked about this before the podcast.
This is such an old person thing to do, and I'm way too young to actually walk around with a handkerchief all the time. but I always have a handkerchief in my pocket.
It's kind of a cool handkerchief.
If you
though.
know Lance and you see him in public in the next whenever, hey Lance, can I borrow that handkerchief
it
for a
is
minute?
in my
Just-
pocket. I guarantee.
somebody
you.
try and pick.
It's a good time of year to borrow that thing right now. Just fill it up.
No, the reason I carry a handkerchief is because I am a sweaty man. I sweat so easy, and there is nothing worse than sitting in a church meeting in my suit and tie and sweat dripping down my brow. I'm like, okay, this is not good. So
This is why you have to live in the Pacific Northwest. If you lived in Arizona, you'd be dehydrated all the time.
Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, so I carry a handkerchief. Yeah, people
All right.
make fun of me.
Next one. Who's up? Evan. Go. Shoot.
I liked the cut healthcare costs, which is what we just talked about.
There you
on
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many
Outside of,
layers to that onion, but yeah.
obviously crashing does not cut your healthcare costs. But if we're talking about long term, Lance knows this better than anybody too. I mean, the pharmaceuticals people will accumulate if they do not maintain healthy cardiac function for any number of reasons. That is a massive load on the wallet right there. I mean, like, I'll tell you what, I think paying for a couple surgeries for a couple crashes in your life definitely is negated by the cost of cholesterol drugs over 40 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's, I mean, those are not cheap drugs by any means. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous too.
Yeah.
Just that whole industry needs some reform, but that's I'll digress and just walk
That's a
away from
huge
that.
rabbit hole. Oh God, we could go down a big rabbit hole.
But yeah, I mean,
You spend all your money on bike parts and bikes, though. So everything
is
you
true.
save on healthcare,
This is
you're
true.
spending on something else.
Yeah,
but that's
fine though. Money's meant to be spent.
it's good stuff right there. Put your pension where your passion is.
Yeah.
Not where you need to be getting like a triple bypass or
See,
something.
this is where though you just got to like come up with this nice little this article basically does the work for you. If you need to convince your spouse that you need a new bike, you just send them this article and you're like, look, my muscle adaptations decrease stress, saves my knees, decrease anxiety.
We're teaching young Grasshopper very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He's learning.
Cuts the healthcare costs. Yeah, and I'm cheap too, so that helps.
Lance, you got another one for us?
My next one relates to that, in that bikes are cheaper than cars.
Yes, they
True
are.
that.
That's a benefit.
Isn't there a Velamonte rule though that says that your bike should be more expensive than the
your
car that you
on.
put it on? Yeah.
Yes, probably. That's what I was gonna say. Is it kind of depends on the bike and it kind of depends on the car.
Most car, we're definitely most.
Depends on
cars,
how many
yeah.
bikes you have in your garage too, Mr. Hepler.
There's also that, which is locked up.
But you're not
people.
putting gas. But you're not putting gas in that bike on a weekly basis. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
something.
Because well, I mean, even if you're spending, let's say you're buying a $12,000 get up, so you got a $12,000 bike. Still, let's say your car's $6,000 or $8,000. Let's say you got a really good used car deal.
Yeah.
If you're filling up on a weekly basis, $30-$40 in the tank. I mean, you just made your money, and I'm not going to try and do math because I'm not the Arizona emissions but yeah, you're saving money at some point in your life.
Quarterly though, you're probably putting $40 to $50 into a chain. You might be dropping another $60 to $100 in tires
For the whole year.
Yeah. No, quarterly. How often do you change your chain there, Mr. Price? Didn't we teach you
Apparently
anything?
once a
Yes,
year.
on that
Got threads
quarterly.
poking through his tires. just
Absolutely quarterly.
Chains like rattling back off. But still, even when you look at the
My
consumables,
road bike does not get the love that my time trial bike gets. So yeah.
when you look at the consumables of a bicycle, yes, you're still well in favor of going that direction over the car direction. So
Yeah.
how about live longer? Did we already say that one?
I think that's just like a big.
We already talk about how old I am.
Yeah. But I just want to touch on this real quick. There are some guys that we ride with, and there's a local here. His name's Ron Child. And Ron, hopefully you're listening to this. I'm still enamored with your ability to get out there and drop the hammer on the bike.
How old is Ron?
He's, I believe, turning 79.
Good for him.
He's still
oh my God.
racing aqua bikes right now, and he wants to.
He races
gosh.
aqua bikes?
Yes,
How have I not? I haven't run into
He
this guy
might
yet.
actually come out and do some road racing next year.
That's awesome.
And like, he's another one of those perfect examples too. You look at him like, you think he's maybe in his like mid to late 60s, and he's almost 80.
Talk
And
about somebody we need to bring on just to talk. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to hear like what his trains looked like through his life, just like how it's changed over his life.
Well, you know what's funny is he was a busy working man for a lot of years, and he said that he really didn't take up cycling until his early 60s. So it's really been the last like 15 to 18 years that he's been cycling consistency.
Hey, it is never too late, people.
You look
Never
at the
too
man,
late.
and he's slender. He's fit on the bike. He can hold his own. I've ridden with him, and he can move.
He can move.
Yes.
Do you know how many 80-year-olds out there are swimming? Period.
Oh, yeah.
Not that many.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive. That's very, very impressive.
It just blows my mind. It boggles my mind. And I'm like, you are my hero. You are like the gold standard for what I want to be when I am that age. And I can only hope and pray that I'm that age and still out riding my bike.
I've got a super early hot seat question for both of you.
Oh, go ahead.
Would you rather, so like what is more important to you? Being very...
Sorry, was that not
Libido,
the question?
Okay. So would you rather, in your life as an endurance athlete, for both you cyclists, be as fast as you could possibly be, reach your potential of speed, or ride until you're like 90?
I'd rather ride until I'm 90. I'd rather get those miles in. There's far too many other things, like these positives that we keep going through.
Yeah.
And I've still got a few more to hit on. I'd rather have more of those.
More miles than
that speed.
Yeah.
You know, going fast is fun, but
Lance is thinking about this one.
I don't know. I'm very performance driven.
Yeah, I know you are. That's why I wanted to ask.
So
but you also have an addiction. So could
yes,
you
I
have
do. That is also true. So to find out really how fast I could be is really attractive.
When does it stop? I mean, if I'm riding until 90, like, when does Lance get to go to? Say, like, for the next 3 years or something like that? Well, turns 50 and he's done?
Yeah, I think we can talk about, because all these positives of cycling, but we know that, like, so there is, for the healthy, awesome parts of these sports, I think sometimes when you get to that tippy top of whatever your own personal ability is and speed is, that also, there's a line of that not being fun anymore.
Yeah.
There really is. So like for me, my initial reaction would be like, oh, I would love to be like as fast as I possibly could. But I actually kind of lean with Jake here. I would rather be racing and doing stuff and going on awesome bike rides till I'm in my 90s. Because I don't think that actually going as fast as I possibly could would be fun.
It does hurt a lot.
I mean, this last season, like, don't get me wrong, it was fun at points, but like some of my races this year that I went really, like, did really well at were not fun by any means. It was not a fun experience.
It's like that last 10 minutes of a cyclocross race.
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
That's not fun.
It's just pure pain.
That's not fun.
It's just pure pain.
Well, it
just
is fun in a dark sort of weird way. Yeah. It's fun as soon as it's done. You're like,
that's
that
right.
was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Another one. Lance, go.
Improving tourism.
Yeah.
Now, I like this one because I tend to travel a bit, and I like nothing better than to go into a new city and get on my bike and go look.
Yeah.
Go travel around the area.
Yeah.
Go see what is out there.
That's how you, I mean, when you think about like what's the best part of going to these destination trips, at least in America, I know, it's absolutely jumping on a bike and going on. Yeah. I mean, I know whenever you're going anywhere, you're researching Strava out the wazoo to find the best ride.
Or I'm looking at Ride with GPS to find loop rides or cool things that are in the area, and I'm downloading into my Garmin. Or, I'm always, whenever I go to a new city, I'm trying to find, okay, where's the cool spot to ride? Or even riding through like some of the major landmarks in the big cities is just...
Oh yeah,
it's cool to be able to do that and see that side of even New York City. We spent a week in Manhattan for spring break like a year and a half ago with my daughters, and I took my bike with me and I tried to ride every day, and I did several laps through Central Park, which is really cool. But I actually rode out through New Jersey, across the George W. Bridge. I don't know where I went, but I did like a 70-mile ride one day. My funnest ride that I did was at 5 a.m. on Fifth Avenue, just straight downtown, bombing down the street, weaving in and out of cars.
You're like
it was a total messenger bike type ride that I probably should have gotten killed on. but
it's worth it.
but it was so much fun just to see the city at that time and to ride my bike through these. And I never would have done that at noon, you know, or at 10. But at 5 a.m, there were very few cars. I love exploring new cities by bike.
That's my favorite thing about the couple rides I've just done through Portland. Like, it's an awesome city to ride around, and you get to see the entire thing if you're on a bike instead of, you know, taking the max and only seeing a little bit of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always assimilate a lot more from an area too by being on your bike.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
just definitely one of those cool things about being on a bicicleta.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I like that.
I got another devil's advocate one here.
Bring it.
It said stretch. It said like keeps you flexible. That is so not true. There's other one like improves posture. I can understand improving core musculature endurance, but like being somebody who spent a lot of time in the time trial position of my life, I wouldn't choose that position for the next 80 years of my life. Also, I mean, I know that both of you, after your 5-hour ride, are you springing off that bike and being like, man, my hips feel loose? No, that is.
It did say in there too that it improves posture, and I don't know cyclists. I don't know if they have quite the best posture in the world.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of against the whole like perfect posture myth. Like like there's been no good studies to prove that actually posture improves pain by any means. But like posture has a lot more to do with like your daily activities and where your tissue like decides to tighten. But I don't think the cycling position is where I would want long term myself to like get down into.
That's true. Every time I'm on a long ride, there's at hour 3 or hour 4, I'm standing up every 10 minutes to stretch my hips.
Squeeze
and
the glutes as much as you can. Yeah. That's why I'd like to throw swims after my super, super long rides. Feels like it stretches me out, actually. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
I know you're not going to, but.
So with what Lance touched on, riding in different areas and tourism, he kind of alluded to a few things. Are creating memories. How many great memories do you have with being on your bike as opposed to, say, sitting on your couch watching a TV show?
I can think of 3 in the last 5 days.
Most memories in my life, I would say. Most memories in my life are probably on a bicycle. So.
Like riding down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. You can't replicate that.
No.
I mean, you can't. And then think about all of the good times that you've had in a race with your teammates, or going out on a team ride, or just with your buddies, or just doing some sort of fun ride. Like something happens, and that's a great memory that you'll have for the rest of your life, whether it be good or bad. But
whether it's Lance flatting and taking forever to change it, and then we got time trial back to the group, or
right. We did have to do that.
I think one of our very first team rides, I don't know if you remember this, I think it was right after you got your felt and you get a flat tire, probably within like 3 miles out of the gate. And we still
no way.
We were riding up North County. Do you remember that?
No.
And like you pulled over, and we didn't even have our kits yet. You were wearing your Belgian BioRacer kit, and I remember you were like taking a while to change. And I got my phone out and played the Jeopardy theme song for you. Do you remember that?
Okay, I do remember.
That's funny. That's
jeopardized.
Really funny. That is very funny.
Yes, you remember that.
That's a good one. I mean, like creating memories is definitely like the best part of these sports. I mean, that's like why we do. I mean, you know, I think people who aren't in these sports listening to us talk like, why would I want to do something that sucks for the last 10 minutes of it? Yeah. It's like, well, that's, you know, that creates a memory right there. Yeah.
Yeah. You quickly forget about how badly things hurt when you're in the moment. And then you start to like, you know, the best part for me is like after the race is done, just hanging out at the staging area with your team, or the car ride home even, and just doing the race recap and kind of talking about everything. My God, I wouldn't trade those for anything in the world. They are so much fun. And
that's why I will 100% be on your guys' side that I like post bike races better than any other. Post triathlon, it's like, how'd your race go? Well, you know, we jumped in the water first, and then we got on a bike, and then we all ran. And how'd yours go? Well, pretty similar, actually.
So it's fun. And then like the fun preparatory stuff, getting ready for that, and then, you know, comparing, contrasting that with your friends, and the memories of the whole process. Like, again, you just can't, for me, it's tough to find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
also they're missing one on this 101 benefits of cycling is you get really good at pinning little paper things onto kind of round objects.
Oh, jeez.
Is that on there somewhere? Is
that does not fall on the 101 benefits of cycling.
That must have been on 102 benefits list.
No, that's like the top 10 list of like things I hate about cycling. This damn number sucks.
I like how
it's the shame of pinning your own stupid number on your jersey.
I'm okay. So you guys will find this funny. I'm a little bit nervous about doing that again this season because I haven't done it in like 2 seasons now.
Evan, don't worry.
I did it for like 6 years, but there's no way.
Don't worry. We'll all mock you incessantly when you do it wrong.
I know. Well, I never want to be the guy who. Are either of you these guys the spray guys? Do you guys do the spray? It ruins the jersey. It ruins the jersey.
No.
I did that for a season, and I just tanked all of my team's jerseys. So
some of the guys will do it for the time trialing stuff, just to keep that thing
time
really
trial. It can make
stuck
sense.
to you. And there's a couple people that will do it for the road. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
We use a cloth number too with Obra.
Oh, okay.
So you can pin it pretty tight. And you're not getting the flappy
you guys
flaps.
are so much better than Ohio. Oh, look at Obra.
All right. Lance, you got another one for me?
Boost your libido because I'm
glad we're
Lance
bringing that
Romance.
Bow, wow, chicka, wow, wow.
I knew that one had to come back at some point. That was like what number? I forget what number that was on there. Scrolled by. I was like, I would mention that, but I'm sure Lance is going to bring that up. So.
I'm not going to elaborate on that.
A lot of good
anymore.
research behind that, though. Yeah, increased testosterone, everything like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lance Hepler, Lance Romance.
International man of mystery.
Lance libido pants.
Lance No Pants, Lance Romance, Last Chance, Lance Romance in the house. Super Genius,
As the old man
Lance
is
Hepler,
coughing
Lance
into
Romance,
his handkerchief.
Romance. Puffy Pants Lance. Lance Romance. Yes. In the house. Okay.
Couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Well worth it, though.
I deserved that.
Is that a top 5 most important one? If we're talking from purely, well, I mean, yeah, it probably is. Increases population in the world, all that important stuff.
Or does it decrease with your time in the saddle?
That's actually very true. There's another problem. Yeah,
that's a good thing. It increases your libido, but
yeah, I was gonna say it may increase your libido, but it's definitely damaging nerve functions.
Cuts down on the world population problem. We're going to be confronted with here very soon.
There you go. Everybody ride a bike. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How about teach others?
How to ride a bike? Which one was that?
It was number 61, teaching others. I think that it's a good thing for us to be able to teach others about everything to do with cycling, how to teach people how to race bikes, how to teach people how to ride a bike, how to teach people how to be safe on a bike,
how to work on a bike.
And then all of the other things that spill out of that is them being on a bike and having the benefit of all of the different things that we're running over here. So
yeah. Definitely, I think also the mechanical aspect of being able to work on your own bike.
Sure.
I know I've had friends who say, like, I mean, I know for people who grew up around cycling, it's no big deal to change a tire.
Yeah.
But I know, I mean, I can't remember which friend of mine it was, but she changed a tire for her first time when she was out on a ride, flatted, changed it herself, and made it back. She said that was very empowering experience.
That she was able to do that.
Yeah, which it is. I mean, that's, for people who don't grow up working in bike shops, like that's a big empowering moment to be able to do that.
Yeah, I have a service that I provide that's actually kind of fun for me, and I think people really enjoy it. So basically, it takes like 3 to 4 hours though, and they'll come in and we put their bike up on the stand, and we literally tear the entire thing down. We service it and we build it all the way back up, and I'm basically right there with them and showing them how to do every last little step and every last little detail
with you.
so that they know their bike inside and out, because a lot of people, they have this fear of the stuff that they don't know. And when you can break it down for them and teach them exactly what's going on mechanically speaking and how to go about servicing that and how to deal with it in the event that you're out in the middle of nowhere and something goes sideways, it's a nice thing to have in your back pocket. It's a definite sense of security that you can have, and there you can start learning how to work on your own bike and do your own maintenance and save a few bucks too. So
in this way, when the zombie apocalypse comes and we all have to jump on our bikes and ride away, if your bike breaks down, hey, guess what? You can fix it yourself and make sure the zombies don't catch you. So,
Evan, you got any more for us?
Well, outside the zombie apocalypse one, let me see. No, I think that was all my. There were some ones on muscle adaptations, which I thought was interesting. I know in teasing a future podcast, we're going to get more into the physiology of training and adaptations that happen along with training. But I definitely think the cool thing with cycling is that since your body has this, so running, your body has to take a certain amount of pounding every single time you go out there. So it's harder to work in and out of your different energy systems. In cycling, since there's less pounding on the body, you can add a lot of you look at the physiology difference between a track cyclist and a climber. You think about what Romain Bardet, a French cyclist who weighs what does Bardet weigh? 125 pounds of skin and bone.
Yeah.
Versus your best track cyclists in the world,
Quadzilla,
who are 220 pound
like
just
gorillas,
beasts of I mean, so you look at it's a sport. You can still kind of pick what your strength is. If you're a Lance, you naturally are that more explosive athlete. If you're a me who explosive is never a word that has been used to describe me in anything that I do in life, but it can appeal to those different people who have those different tendencies for certain muscle adaptations. When we talk about from a physiological standpoint, everybody, this is kind of a debated theory, but I'll give you the older theory is that you're born with a certain percentage of type 1 and type 2 fiber muscles, and that percentage does not change throughout your life.
Right.
You can develop one or the other more, but you're born with a certain percentage. This is why some people are born to be sprinters and some people are not born to be sprinters. So that's the kind of cool thing about cycling is that there's a part of the sport for if you're that sprinter, get on the track or mountain bike and start doing, the short efforts. If you're not, go out and be somebody like Mike Myers who kills it in time trials and, events like that.
Yeah. It's definitely catering to all body types and shapes and sizes and ability levels. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about, here's another one, be more interesting. And I put next to it, be like Lance.
Is interesting a right word there? Or since we're in Portland, can we use the word weird? Like, be more weird.
Well, this one's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, us as cyclists, like the second somebody like opens Pandora's box and mentions anything about cycling or for you triathlon, and we're like in a social setting, you just basically open up Pandora's box and we're going to just start talking like at will and we won't shut up about all things bikes. So.
But that isn't cool because you are kind of weird in certain social environments.
Yeah.
I mean, like we all have that group of friends that doesn't ride bikes or run, Yeah. So when you're in that social setting and somebody asks you, what'd you do today? And Lance answers, I rode my bicycle 85 miles. Somebody looks at you like, what does that even mean? I'm not even sure what that means. Like,
Why would you do that?
You meant you drove 85 miles? Like, no, I rode my bicycle 85 miles. So
that part can be kind of weird, or if you just sit there and like perseverate on the same thing over and over and over again, that could be kind of like annoying. But when you can say something to the effect of like, oh, I did a mountain bike ride in St. George, Utah, and did this cool trail called the Zen Trail, and it was this, that, and the other, and I met this guy, and you get to tell like a cool, interesting story. That's kind of fun. That's entertaining, even though maybe you're not a cyclist, or, Evan, you can talk about something crazy that you did in triathlon. Like you talked about your Santa Cruz 70.3. People are going to be enamored with that because you can tell some cool stories and how much you're afraid of sea lions. And then, it's like
terrified of sea lions, actually. Terrified.
No, it just kind of creates creates a cool conversation. So, but if it's just sitting there and that's all you ever do, whenever you show up, you talk about,
don't be that guy. We all know that
this
guy.
week I put in 8 hours on Zwift, and I went to the doctor. When you're that guy and you're annoying, that part, that part
or
sucks.
God forbid, be the guy who mentions anything watts related to people who don't ride bikes. I put out 415 watts for 2 minutes on this ride.
My watts
Somebody's
per kilogram, man. I'm up
it's
to
like I only it was like I know
something.
watts of a light bulb, and that's about it. I don't care about what you're doing on a bicycle.
So that one you got to be careful with. It can definitely though create some cool conversations. You can tell some cool stories, and these are stories that might inspire people to get out and try your sport.
And that is the one of the 101 benefits of cycling. My favorite one is when you run into that person who mentions bikes. And you have this like immediate connection where you're like, oh my God, we get to talk about bikes.
Did we just become best friends?
Exactly. We get to talk about bikes now. Yes.
Yep.
Which in this region is pretty common. Like you run into quite a few people. Yeah.
So here's another one for you guys. If you basically wipe things like triathlon and cycling off the map and endurance sports in general, and when you start to think about athletics and you grew up as a kid, you probably start getting introduced to sports at like 5, 6, 7 years old. You become good at said sport, and then you play all through high school. And then if you're lucky and you're good enough, you can go play some in college. And if you're lucky, again, there's maybe an outlet for you to play on a club level as an adult, and you're maybe in a weekly rec league. A lot of times, though, people are hanging them up at about 35, 40 years old because
way
they start
earlier, most people. Yeah.
Because you're breaking down. There's very few people that are out there still being competitive. There's a lot of people that have that need to have those competitive juices, like
guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, yeah.
let's think about cycling. What does that do for you when you start thinking about like the Ron Childs of the world, who's 78, 79 years old, still out doing aqua bikes, still out training on his bike to get faster and to, beat the living snot out of people that are his age, which he's doing. What other forms of competitiveness besides playing chess and checkers are allowing you to train your body up and to have all of these cool like things that we've already talked about that you get to inject into your life for pretty much your entire life? I mean, how many other sports can you think of that give you that?
For God's sake, you can do the sport into your 80s. I mean, that's...
Well, there's the guy, too, that broke his own world record here recently for, what was it, like a 20K or something like that? He was 100 and... I'll double check. He's like 106 or 108 years old.
Incredible. Oh, my gosh.
Just this, he's like 4'11", if I'm not mistaken, just a little guy. And he still gets on his bike and he goes out and he races it. And he's just, out there having fun, going as fast as you can. Now, it's not that fast, but he's still doing it. So... What other sport can you do?
There's not outside the endurance world. There's not many places where you can really.
I see that in tennis, maybe
competitive.
Tennis, I still see kind of that competitiveness in the aging, but not to the same level that endurance.
I stepped funny and fell down.
Not to the same level. I'll get some hate mail from tennis people there, but yeah, I mean,
trap shooting.
Yeah. God, I don't even want to say golf.
Fishing derbies.
Golf.
Is fishing a sport?
Golf. Yeah, I guess people play golf.
I
don't know.
I will.
I'm just trying to
here's my honest opinion on this. I'm going to get so many angry messages for this. I consider fishing more of a sport than golf.
You do?
Yeah. Golf's an activity.
Golf's
interesting.
Fishing.
No, I like fishing more.
Okay, explain.
I don't even personally like fishing, but I see a really cool passion and humanity in fishing that I don't see in golf.
Okay,
golf to me is I don't
be
know.
450 pounds smoking a pack of cigarettes, sitting on a fishing boat and catch a million fish, and you're gonna die walking to your car from the park or from the boat launch because you're a deconditioned.
I'll rephrase and say fly fishing.
Okay, maybe.
All right.
I've met a lot of fly fishers in their like 50s and 60s who are like very active. They're outdoorsy type of guys because usually they got to hike out to these sort of places and everything.
Yeah.
I just like that, like putting on the boots, going out there fly fishing more than like anything you put on khakis to do is not a sport.
Okay, what about professional golf though, where they're not allowed to use a cart? They have to walk the whole thing. Granted, somebody's still carrying their bag and they're just walking 7,000 yards or something like that.
My 88-year-old grandmother walks more than those guys do on a course in a day. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of mean messages about this, but I don't know. I just don't find like. I put golf under that like darts, chess, curling. They're sports that require a skill that's very hard to do. Like golf as a skill is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
But like I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, these guys are muscular guys, but like if you put those guys against any other professional sport, they get their stuff blown up. But I like it. We're like back in the day when they were talking about Tiger Woods, like he's such an elite athlete. I'd be like, Tiger Woods, you put him on an NFL team, NBA team, MLB team, soccer team. That guy's not making any of those cuts as an athlete. Not even close.
And that's why we continue to be a fringe sport, because you just ostracized half our listeners.
Well, they call cycling the new like the new old guys golf is what they call it. So yeah, I don't know.
It did.
And this is funny because actually one of my best friends is like a really good golfer too. So he would listen to this and just say like, Evan's just pissed because he sucks at golf, which is true. I do suck at golf.
They used to say that business got done on a golf course, and there's been a big shift in the world where a lot of business does get done on bicycles now, and people have walked away from the golf course to take up cycling because they want to be more, basically more active and get their fitness in and conduct business on bikes.
I've closed some big deals on the golf course, and I've closed some big deals on the bike.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And the only time I'll ever play golf now.
Would you consider golf I know that everybody's
No,
definition of
golf.
sport and athlete is different. Would you consider golf a sport?
Yes, I would, because it takes an incredible amount of skill and precision, and body control to be able to do it. And you can do it competitively. Can it be done competitively?
Yeah, darts can be done competitively.
Yeah, so can golf.
Okay, I'll give you that. It's a sport. Do you consider the men who do it, men and women who do it, athletes?
No,
Okay, there we
But
go.
I also
That's
see-
where we're gonna
I
go.
also see
Depends.
baseball players who aren't athletes.
That's true. Okay.
But they have great vision and great hands, so they
Yeah,
can
they
hit
do.
a ball.
Yep.
Some of those dudes are pretty fast and strong.
Yeah,
So,
I
mean,
agree.
like
They
in
are.
the day of like John Croc.
There
and
are
whatnot.
definitely
Yeah.
athletes who play baseball. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is where, I mean, like, I'm not talking about your top echelon guy. Like, there are some great, strong athletes that play golf. Now, do I think any of them are good aerobic athletes? God, no. But
Are they athletic? Are they athletes? Sure.
And this is where I can even hear the argument. I have people who we had a big argument in one of my exercise physiology class back in college. I still remember talking about if endurance athletes are athletes. And we came up with this loose definition of an athlete as the better an athlete you are, you're somebody who can adjust to certain activities very well. So like a Bo Jackson, it's like one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah.
That guy, you teach him any sport for a year, he's going to be great at it.
Mm-hmm.
A Lance Armstrong, as much as I love Lance, pretty one-dimensional in the aerobic world. Like you toss him on a basketball court, Lance isn't going to adjust to that environment super well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an argument for another time.
Interesting.
I'm going to get so much hate mail from golfers.
Nice.
What's your handicap, Lance?
I have no idea. I hate golf. Like 35,
How
probably.
did you close a deal being bad at golf?
Because I'm good at the relationship. I'm not at the
As you're
golf.
shanking your drive.
Yeah, I'm not a terrible golfer.
Okay.
But I'm good at the relationship.
We should
and
actually go
building a
golfing.
relationship.
We should actually go golfing sometime.
Pass.
I haven't been golfing in like 5 years, but
I used to golf as well, and it just I never really fell in love with it. I mean, it was fun. I used to enjoy going to the driving range as a kid, and the first few times I played golf, it was fun. But I get too freaking frustrated. Like
After
when you
that rant,
too
you want to
long.
go play golf now.
I know. Well, I feel like I have to now. I feel like I have to. But anything you're going to spend like 6 or 7 hours out of your day doing and like not really be getting much of a workout in, it's like I just
paying $100 a round to do it. Yeah.
I only do it now for a social reason
Yeah.
because my buddies are going or because this banker needs to chat me up or then I'll go in those situations.
Are your buddies going to get pissed at you for talking down golf?
No.
Okay, good.
They've all kind of slowly gone away from it. And now when I get together with my buddies, if they're all go playing golf, Lance is going to come. He's going to ride his bike instead.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you should.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Any more from you guys?
Golf rant over.
I'm like scared for the messages we're going to get.
No,
off this.
I'm all good.
The very last one, and I think I'll just let this be our exclamation point. Just have more fun.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to have more fun. I mean, it's not for everybody. Of course, everything's not for everybody, but I can't think of anything that I have more fun at doing.
Yeah.
Riding bikes.
On Thursday, I'm in the Tri-Cities in Washington. I walk outside in my bike stuff. The wind is howling.
Yep.
And my wife is like, "You're not going to go ride in this?" And I'm like, "Heck yes, I am going to go ride in this." And certainly the first like 10 miles were terrible because it was straight headwind. And then when I turned the corner, oh my gosh, I
you're
was
just hitting
having
32
so much fun.
just with nothing.
I'm cruising at like 35 down this, bike path with not a soul on it because nobody's out there because it's too windy. I just was having so much fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I miss riding my bike, man.
I'm sorry.
This week I saw a little kid on his bike. Looked like he was probably on his bike for one of the first time without training wheels. He was kind of wobbly.
Yeah.
And he had the biggest smile on his face and was tearing away from his dad, who was sprinting after him, yelling. This kid's just out of the saddle with the biggest smile I've ever seen on his face. Probably just about to crash, but that kid was having the time of his life.
All right.
That'll be Jake the first time he gets out his bike outside now.
Have more fun on your bike.
I like it.
So, you guys know what today is? It's November 5th.
It's the 6th.
No, it's the 5th.
The 5th.
Oh.
So, and this will
the
come out
5th,
on the
yeah.
7th. So, you folks that are listening to this, it was 5 months ago today that I got hit by a car.
5 months ago. That's
June 5th. It was
5 months.
already 5 months. And I still can't reach the hoods on my bike.
Yeah.
Just with one arm.
Yeah, that's true.
High five, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I got one good hand.
He's got one really good hand over there.
Inside the head with.
Yeah, he deserves a smack for that.
Sorry, I just was looking at that. It's 22 weeks. 22 friggin' weeks.
This is brutal.
Good gravy.
That's
it
a
sucks.
bad injury.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
So
Shoulders are
tend
rough,
to
man.
concur now. So.
Shoulders are rough.
All right, one last thing. Evan, one last thing from you, buddy.
One last thing. Oh, we just talked about a lot of stuff right there. I feel like I need to make apologies for my one last thing. I would like to make an apology to anybody who's a Tiger Woods supporter. He's a wonderful athlete, I'm sure, and probably could adjust to many different sports.
And he has a great libido, too.
He does have great...
Must ride a bike.
What if Tiger Woods does ride bikes? I'm going to look at him for Airs No Missions next time and watch him be some great cyclist.
I know he mountain bikes.
You know, there's some really cool like celebrities out there that actually like road race and stuff. Yeah. So my one last thing is that I'd love some feedback on what people actually want to know about with their training. You know, like, so when we do our physiology, like training physiology podcast,
that will be 4 weeks from today. We're going to do that one.
So like plenty of time for feedback, but I'd like to hear back from anybody who like actually wants to hear something specifically about like, hey, what's an explanation for this, or why do people say this, or because I think there's a lot of misnomers out there in the endurance world.
Yep, we'll be having the Dial Podcast University, and we will be doing Physiology 101.
It's going to be fun. There you go.
Good times.
Yep. Oh, the Airs No Missions list is just going to be so big, the podcast after that.
And you know what? I might even try and reach out to some of my old professors who used to be at Chapman University. I wonder if they're still there, if I can get a hold of them somehow. It would be awesome to get one of those guys on.
That'd be cool.
Some, like, because we talked about this earlier this year about some people that were kind of like role models of ours. And I had 3 different professors, actually 4 of them, that were just spectacular.
Oh,
I wonder if I could get one of them on.
Cool.
That would be so cool.
That'd be really cool. We should write that down.
Me.
Yeah.
I'll reach out.
Yeah.
Can try.
Can say like, hey, do you want to nerd out on a podcast for a little bit?
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'd be cool to make that. Just my one last thing is just to make that podcast as helpful for anybody listening in, whether you're coaching yourself or if you just have questions about what your coach is doing for you, so you can understand it better.
Shoot Evan an email, evan@dialpodcast.com, or ping us on Facebook.
The book face.
The book face at Dial Podcast.
Yep.
Cool. Lance, one last thing, Bob.
I might be gone next week. I might have to be on location again. So
Lance Romance.
I was about before he played that. I was about to say it into the microphone.
Go, Evan. Go. 1, 2, 3.
Lance Romance on location.
Love it. Matt somewhere is rolling in his grave. I think he hates that button.
Stupid button. No, one of my buddies is actually running for office in Utah, and I think he's running. I don't even know exactly what office he's running for. I think it's in the state legislature, but I'm not exactly sure.
Can you get him on the podcast?
Good commercial for him right now.
Can you get him on the podcast if he wins?
I could get him on the podcast.
That would be so sweet.
He does listen.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
What's his name again?
Are you throwing your official support behind your friend?
His name is Steve Waldrip.
Vote for Steve.
Vote for Steve.
Vote Steve, 2018.
Not Pedro, Steve.
He came to us. All my college buddies like, hey guys, I'm running for office, and we're like, why are you doing that? What is wrong with you? But
he's leading in the polls too, isn't he?
I think he's leading in the polls. So he's actually a really good guy. He's one of the best people on the planet that I know. He's a really great guy. But after the election, he's hoping to take a few days off, and he said, Lance, come meet me. So I might go meet him. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's enough for me.
We'll try and track you down.
All right.
We'll tag a phone to you and Skype you down. All right. My one last thing. We have on November 24th the Ugly Christmas Sweater Ride coming up. And you will see stuff on social media for that this week that will include all of the ride details, some cool pictures from years past, and the little charity that we're going to tie to that. And we will have a GoFundMe page again for that to add to the $3,000 that we already have stacked up here. Let's buy a bunch of bikes for kids this year. This is going to be flipping awesome. And then Giro is going to pony up too. We're going to get some super cool helmets for dirt cheap. So the money's going to help us raise money for bikes and helmets for the kids. And then our team will be going out to hand these bikes over and give them a little in-service on how to use their bike safely and how to take good care of it. Should be fun.
Love it.
Yeah. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for some good information on the Dialed Cycling Ugly Christmas ride. Ugly Christmas sweater ride. It's so much fun, man. And you get to decorate your bike too, which is kind of cool. Sounds maybe lame to some of you, but once you get out there and get in the mood of it all, it's a good time.
Don't be a Grinch.
Yeah. So look for that on our social media. That will be the Dialed Cycling pages. There's the team page. There's the podcast page that we'll put it up to, the Dialed Podcast. And then look for the announcement on Strava as well, the Strava group page on there. If you want to follow along with all the rides and stuff that we got going on there, feel free to join that particular group.
Do we have Prune Hill coming up too?
We do.
Okay.
That will be posted up later today.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, the Prune Hill 10K.
Alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So, all right, guys, anything else?
That's it.
Boom.
Hey, Matt, we missed you today, buddy.
Missed you, Matt.
Yeah, hopefully the swooshy people aren't like
Working
oppressing
him
you
to
too
death.
much here. Yeah,
Yeah,
he just
seriously.
went off the map.
Yep.
So
Can't wait to have him back.
yeah, next week hopefully.
Good job.
I know, seriously.
All right, Evan, Lance, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Always a good time.
You bet.
Folks, for listening out there, you guys are the best. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. We will see you next week. Bye for now.